Hey everyone, I'm Allison. Thank you for joining me for Where I'm From 185 with Victoria. What have you been reading? I'm reading Border Songs, a conversation and poems by Ona Gritz and Daniel Simpson. They're poets and they're married, and it's just like it sounds, a conversation and poems. And it's just really beautiful, and I'm enjoying it. I happen to know both Ona and Daniel, so I'm sure that gives me another level of enjoyment, but it's special. So, hi, Kenya. I'm looking for Victoria, though. I don't know where she is. I may sign off. Hi, Sonia. I may sign off and come back. Oh, here's Victoria. Okay. I can invite you. I'll try both. Something is going to work, I believe. There
Why am
we go.
why am
Well,
I
there you
sideways?
are, sideways. But
Why?
that's a start.
Okay, let's see. Why am I sideways? This
Is
is
your
my.
phone sideways? Oh, now you're upside down. Now you're upside down. Now
It's
you're
my
sideways.
actually
Oh,
iPad. So
oh, okay.
okay, let me put it down a little further because
I didn't know you could do it from your iPad. So I learned something new today,
well, I thought it
Victoria.
would be easier because it's bigger,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that it was going to turn like a different direction or whatever. So
Well, you look very fancy. I don't think I've ever seen you done up.
oh, I have yeah. Because I worked like for this long usually, which is true. I retired, and once I retired, I stopped.
Yeah.
I think it was my work
Yeah.
uniform. I want to say it was a uniform,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I don't wear my work uniform anymore. But I thought, well, this is like really
Yeah.
fun. So I'm just going to do not too much, but I'll put a band in my hair.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Sonia says hi. I don't know if you see her in the chat, but
oh,
Sonia is
hi. No, I can.
also one of
Yeah.
our co-writing
Yes, yes.
friends,
I
although
know.
I
Yes.
haven't been there in a while.
You
So I
haven't, and we miss you. Just
say
saying.
thank you. I
Just
miss all
saying.
of you. It's just been a bit chaotic. I think most of us can relate. Life
Oh,
has
for
been a little
sure.
chaotic.
Without getting too
Yeah.
much into the
Yeah.
weeds, truly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But it's lovely to see you. And there's Gedia. Hi, Gedia. I don't know if you know her. She's a Instagram friend and in Switzerland. So she does book scarves. Do you know book scarves, Victoria?
No,
I never know how people know each other on
no.
this place. Um,
But if she puts the
well,
books first, it sounds like somebody that I want to know.
yes, she does
Right?
books with her silk scarves. She has like an
Oh
astonishing
no, I do
collection of silk
know. We
scarves.
were. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you right, didn't I? So
Yes,
yeah, actually, we were in like a Instagram pod
yes.
together, and then finally I
I
had to
thought you
kind of
might
leave that.
be.
I was in like a
Hmm.
bad place, and
Yeah,
just like how
yeah,
well everybody knows I'm in the same bad place that other people
yeah.
are. So had to leave that. But I love the thing with the scarf. In fact,
Aren't they
I was thinking, well, I
beautiful?
should send my book, but like maybe I could send one through Amazon or
Mhm.
something because it's so far away and it's international and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. But
yeah.
yeah, that would be really fun. My newest book.
Yes.
Because I
Yes.
would
So
love to
you
see that
do
match
know
with the
each
scarf.
other. I thought
Which
if she
one?
was saying hello, she probably knew each other.
See,
Oh,
I
is this
think,
your newest one?
yeah, this is the
Yes.
one. It's not out yet. This is the proof.
Oh, that's beautiful.
But you can kind of see it's a YA, and so you can kind of see it says
Yeah.
keep sweet. It's
Yeah.
hard to see there. But yeah, this one
So,
is coming out in June. And so would love to see that match with the scarf because it's a girl, with her side, and I just wonder what colors.
and do you see Genny is saying, yes, send books. So,
Okay, I'm going to try to figure it out.
yeah.
I'll have
Um,
to message
so you
him.
have two books coming out in June because our
Right.
anthology is also coming out in
You
June.
know
You
what?
have a
And
big month.
they're days
Oh,
apart actually
really?
because the anthology is coming out on June 17th, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
then this one's coming out the first day of summer. They decided the first day of summer would be fun
That is,
for teens,
yeah.
and so June 21st.
Wow.
So yeah, so it's 4 days apart or whatever. So yay, it's like a fun month, right?
That is a
Yeah.
fun month. We need fun. And I mean, somebody messaged me, it's so wonderful you're doing this when things are so difficult,
Right.
like that we're putting out things
Right.
that matter to us and hopefully matter, provide mirrors and spaces for other people to be
Mhm.
seen. So, yes, Gedia says she has a matching scarf. So,
Oh, cool. Yeah, because it kind of has a lot of things of color, but I was thinking almost like because it's deserty, it has almost like a sage in it,
mhm.
and like a pinkish beige, that kind of stuff. And so, yeah.
Does
But
it set
I'm
out
sure
where
she
you
does
live?
have a matching scarf because
She
she
does.
must have like 8 million
I
scarves, right?
mean,
I mean,
they're all
I'm sure she has
gorgeous.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is the book set where you live, Victoria? Out in the desert?
No, it's I don't actually live in the
Oh, you
desert,
don't?
so and it's set like in actually a fictional spot, but it is like kind of Arizona-ish, but not very far from California because it's a polygamous cult.
Oh, okay.
And then the girl who's 14 years old is being asked to, well, not being asked, I shouldn't say that. She's being commanded by the group prophet, because they're crazy patriarchal society, that she has to marry her 19-year-old cousin. And she doesn't really know why. Usually the girls marry much older men and their sister wives and stuff like that. It's a polygamous cult.
Yeah.
So she doesn't know why, but she's in the thing. She's figuring out like what are the dynamics that are going on, right? And her cousin is actually, they didn't get along when she was young, but he's actually kind of a nice person too, but not like the brightest bulb on the tree. And so he's kind of willing to go along, even though it's not really what he wants either. And so the whole point is that nobody's happy except for the prophet, who gets to tell everybody else what to do, because he's a narcissistic, like crazy man, megalomaniac who just ruins people's lives for fun. And so she's trying to escape. And so it's about the idea of how do we escape control, particularly when it's like spiritual control. When you think, well, if I escape or I do anything wrong, this person is going to ruin the eternal lives of everyone in my family. That's a hard thing. What do you do when you believe that? So that's,
I think it is a really hard thing when you believe your fate and the fate of the people you love is in someone else's hands. So, well, it sounds very compelling, Victoria. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Also, anything else before you read your poem?
Those are the two big
Yeah.
things. I was very excited to see that. I was excited about the anthology, that they were asking for photos.
Yes.
Which is really fun. I hope I have some older photos of my brother from his yearbook. They're kind of scanning, because he was a really good baseball player, was a pitcher. So I want to have one photo of him pitching the baseball, kind of a thing. Yeah. And so, and behind me, you can see that. See that?
Oh, is that him?
There? That's my dad.
Okay, I was going to say that looks like an older.
Very young when he was in the Navy. So that's when I talk about where I'm from. That's one of the people that I'm from. That's my pop. So So I think that's it. Those are the big things for me going on right now.
Those are big things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anytime you're ready.
Okay. Well, I'm going to read my poems. Where am I? And by the way, I do want to say how much I love doing this and what it made me think about.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. I am from the center yellow line dividing opposing traffic. From Cheerful, Tearful, and Chatty Cathy, both dolls. I am from the 1,200 square feet holding a family of 7. 3 girls in a single room of twin beds over lime green shag carpet. I am from honeysuckle bushes, their waxy green leaves shading, their secret drops of nectar sucked from the hidden end of a plucked flower. I'm from Christmas gatherings that spilled extended family into every room and long, spidery silences between holidays. From Lee and Mary Collene, I'm from a dissatisfaction that doesn't understand its source and an unearned disaffection. From You're a smart girl and I'll give you something to cry about. I'm from Irish Catholicism, its shame and guilt, the central emotional feature of my upbringing. I'm from the sunny promise of Southern California and the brooding bogs of the ancient Celts. White woman tacos and back of the package Nestle's Toll House cookies. From great grandparents of a Great Depression, whose local bakery was driven out of business by a company that gave bread away for free until it ground down the competition. From their prodigy, who became the new flour with which we test other recipes for success. Thank you.
Yay.
Yes.
I also had Nestle Toll House cookies.
Yeah,
So
straight from the back of the package, right?
yeah,
Like that was the
yeah,
best at
that
that
was
time. I
the
thought that was like,
recipe.
have you had those were good. Oh, one thing I do want to say about this that was really fun
Mm-hmm.
for this poem. We had already decided a while back that we would do this, and I was kind of not done with the poem yet. And I was a week ago, 10 days ago, I was looking up some audio files, and the reason why was I have a Substack. It's called Be a Cactus, which, by the way, I do want to mention, if anybody here is worried about some things, particularly banned books, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that most people who watch you are
Mm-hmm.
they're like other authors
Yeah.
and things like that. My Substack, Be a Cactus, I'm doing it twice a week now. Once a week is just banned books
Mm-hmm.
and what the news of the week is on banned books. And then the
Mm-hmm.
other one is more other literary kind of things too, like book reviews, books I like and stuff like that. But there's other banned books, and then there's other just like fun stuff about books.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I record not the news about the banned books because it just is kind of
Mm-hmm.
newsy, but I record the other one, make an audio recording. So I went to jump into the folder of the audio recordings to grab something, and it actually went into the larger folder. And in that folder, there was a thing that said "Combo with Dad," conversation with my dad, right? And my dad's dead. He's been dead for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was I had never been able to listen to that conversation ever. And I had my mom on it too. My mom talked a little bit at the end. And even though she had dementia, it was at a time in her life where she could still remember things from her childhood. You know how dementia kind of goes progressively backwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're both on there. And I was asking them some questions about when they were young, things that I didn't know about. And or maybe heard about and
Mm-hmm.
wanted to have another go at.
Mm-hmm.
And we were not a family that ever had, we didn't have like a videotape, nothing. We never
Mm-hmm.
recorded anything. I
Right. And
don't
you
have their
didn't
voices anywhere.
have very many pictures, you were saying.
Right. And not
Yeah.
very many pictures. I had
Yeah.
school pictures. My parents did buy the school pictures
Yeah.
every year. I can't find them. And that's my
Yeah.
fault. They actually did save them. I don't know where they are. But they never hung any pictures
Right.
up there. Afraid of making holes in the wall. That's another story, if you can imagine that.
I can't.
No holes in the wall. So no artwork of any kind.
Right. Right.
And lots of pictures that they buy all these school pictures of their 5 kids, and
Mm-hmm.
then they were nowhere. They were just like
Mm-hmm.
thrown in a box, right?
Mm-hmm.
I did have them. I'll find them eventually. But so I'm looking at this thing, and God, I wish I could hear this thing. But when I would turn it on, there was like no sound of the sound was so low I couldn't hear it.
Mm-hmm.
So since I'm not a techie, and I have a son, particularly who is my oldest son, I said, you know what? I have this file and I can't hear it. And he said, well, when he held it like on his phone really close, he could hear it. He knew it was there. So he would go home and he would figure it out. Well, he sent me a note and he said, you know what, Mom, it's because there's a really loud noise at the beginning. Somebody, I think my husband was doing the dishes
Mm-hmm.
in the room, clank, clank, boom, right? Pots and pans. And he said, the really loud noise. So in order to get that noise as the top
Mm-hmm.
noise, the
Mm-hmm.
recording made it so that everything else was like down here.
Mm-hmm.
That's normal. So he said, so I just removed the beginning, which had that noise, and now you can hear it. And sure enough, you could hear it. So here it is, years later. I've never heard this thing. And so I'm like, oh my gosh, it was lovely. And it's good to hear them in a positive way. Not
Mm-hmm.
everything in my childhood was positive. I had some really crazy shit go on.
Mm-hmm.
Am I allowed to say the S
Sure.
word? Sorry if I were. Okay.
Yes.
And so I had this, but it was really like fun. We had some good things too, and this was just about kind of some good things. And hearing their voices, and so of course I sent it to my siblings. Oh my God, listen,
Mm-hmm.
there's mom and dad
Mm-hmm.
talking. And one of the things that he told me was this story that I had forgotten about. I'd heard before about my great grandparents having a bakery during the Depression, and how they were driven out of business. It was so crazy by this, much bigger company. They just said,
Yeah.
we're going to give bread away from free,
Yeah.
which you can't afford to do
Yeah.
until you don't have a business
Yeah.
here anymore, that kind of thing. So
A
that was
loss
fun
leader.
because then by having it right then, I thought that's what I'm going to put. Like, that's the final thing about the family that we kind of like, yeah, we screwbally, but we survive. We keep
Mm-hmm.
trying to make new recipes. So that was really fun. So it just seemed like serendipity that like 10 days before this, I
Yeah.
came across this. It
I
was really
think
fun.
things like that happen. That's part of what's fun about, I think, doing this or committing to doing it, or I think committing to doing lots of projects, right? Like if we say, oh, I'm going to do this thing, sometimes things like arrive that wouldn't have arrived otherwise, or maybe we wouldn't notice them because we're busy with all the other chaos,
Right.
And so
Yeah.
committing to something or making space for something allows things to come into that space.
Right. Yeah. And then you're right. Because if it hadn't been that certain time, I don't know that I would have even looked at
Right.
it
Right.
because it wasn't what I was looking for. I had
Right.
forgotten that it even existed,
Yeah.
and then poof,
Yeah.
there it was.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think just talking about sharing photos of our siblings for the anthology for social media, for me, I was like, oh, I have these ones on my phone. I have already shared them. But I thought, oh, this will give me an excuse to go back. And I don't have that many pictures. It
Mm-hmm.
was a different time, and I am similarly from a family with 5 children. So there aren't as many pictures of him, or even the two of us. Like, that just isn't how it was. There weren't that many pictures, and if there were usually a jumble of people.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whoever was there and cousins, and because often they were Christmas pictures, like your picture that you shared for this, like, and at Christmas it's everyone. So, but it's a reason to just kind of go back and
Yeah. Yeah. The picture. In fact, that's funny. The picture that I shared for this, I have only had that picture for about 2 years.
mm,
My someone very closely connected with our family, not technically a
mhm,
relative, but he's been in our family forever. I consider him my cousin. Um, we were at an event, a family event, and she said that she had gone through and seen these like old, she had taken Polaroid pictures, right? Old
mhm.
Polaroid pictures. And she said, here's one of you. And she gave it to me.
Oh wow.
And it's like, oh, I had never seen it, of course, it
Yeah.
was from this particular Christmas. So that's where I got that picture. It wasn't anybody, like
Mhm,
my parents never took pictures. It was that
mhm.
she was at the house, like at this big family gathering,
Yeah,
taking these Polaroid
I
pictures.
love it when people send me pictures of myself, because I think I'm so familiar with the ones that I have, because I
Mm-hmm.
am the person who keeps the pictures, or takes them usually. I've been letting other people take them more recently, but I think that's I don't know, it's a pleasant surprise when
Mm-hmm.
somebody gives you, so that's very sweet of
Yeah,
her. How
yeah, that
thoughtful.
was very
Yeah.
nice. Yeah, good person.
Yeah. So any other thoughts about your experience writing this poem or this
Well, that
writing
was
this poem?
probably the biggest
Yeah.
one. But I had so fun too, thinking, well, I'm going to put my nieces here. Like when I say like white woman tacos,
Hmm.
like I remember we grew up in Southern
So what
California.
are white woman
There are
tacos?
white woman tacos.
What are they?
That
What is one?
okay.
I don't
So
know.
ground beef,
Okay.
so ground beef
Yeah.
with chili brick. Like,
Oh.
and I don't even know if they sell
Yeah.
chili brick anymore, but
Yeah.
it looked like a
Yeah.
brick is what it looked like. But
Yeah.
you would put it and it would kind of melt in flavor. It was chili, but it's kind of greasy. So then when you ate the tacos, the
Yeah.
orange grease would drip
Yeah.
out,
Yeah. Yeah.
kind of a thing, that kind of
Yeah.
thing. And so my mom would make these tacos, and we were little. We ate. My mom didn't really like to cook a lot, and also, to be honest, kids don't like that many different things. So why go
Hmm.
crazy? Just
Hmm.
make whatever over and over again
Yeah.
because that's fine with kids. So we had tacos like at least once a week that were
Hmm.
like this, and we loved them, and we thought my mom was like the best
Hmm.
taco maker. And then we
Yeah.
would tell other people, like my cousins were from Pennsylvania or whatever, oh yeah, like you can't
Hmm.
you don't know what Mexican food tastes like because you're not from California or Arizona, and so it's just so good and this and that. And then when you grow up and then you actually eat like good Mexican food,
Yeah.
you can see, oh well, okay, maybe these didn't quite hit the mark, right? But boy, did we love them when we were
Yeah.
kids, and that
Yeah.
was how they were made with that chili brick. That's what gave them the
Oh,
flavor. So
okay. I have to
mhm.
share that with
Yeah.
my husband, because he loves to hear about different foods, and
What was
tacos
funny?
especially,
What I was
because
gonna
he's
say
from
is,
Texas. So
I'm
he
sorry,
loves.
we
Go
didn't
ahead.
call them white woman tacos, of course, when we were
Right.
little. But
Right.
then my nieces coined that term, so kudos
Mhm.
to them. That she would make tacos for them that they also liked, and I think my mom graduated to like shredded beef at
Uh-huh.
some point. We didn't have a lot of money when we were little, so that wouldn't have
Yeah.
been an option. But as she got older and stuff, and would feed those to my nieces, and who also loved them, and so. Yeah, they would just call them white woman tacos. That's where that actually came from. It was from them. Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
sweet.
So yeah, it was fun. And I was thinking like on the first line, the idea of being on the center yellow dividing line
Hmm.
between opposing traffic,
Hmm.
because the two ends of my life were so opposite, and I was kind of like always felt, like in the middle of crazy stuff, that one going this way and one
Hmm.
going that way, and yeah, you're a great person, oh, you're a rotten person, that. So I thought that was fun. It was fun to try to think of like what they were, and I really liked this form. By the way, I shared the form with one of my critique
Hmm.
groups. We kind of went over the poem a
Fun.
little bit, and then I said, oh, this is a very specific form. And so I was sharing it with them. I said, you might want to do this with other
Yeah.
groups that you are involved in because it really is fun to do. And they were very excited about it. So
Oh, good.
you're affecting people that you don't even know. So you're bringing stuff forward that, yeah.
I,
So,
the man who made it is named Fred First. I am just the person who is using it. Georgella obviously wrote the original poem, and I think she's going to join me for number 200. That's
oh,
the
good.
plan, so I'm very
Yay.
excited. But yeah, I mean, this poem of hers, it's incredible,
Mhm.
the roads that it's traveled. And I think I don't know, it's very inspiring to me that you just kind of do your thing and you don't know what it's going to mean to somebody
Right,
else.
right. Yeah. And then it comes out, and then you're like, yeah, that is me.
So, yes, and if any of them ever want to join me, Victoria, you tell them to reach out. Open
Oh,
door
I will.
policy.
Okay, yeah. No, I think that
So,
would be fun. I think they
yeah,
would enjoy that.
yeah,
Certain ones would enjoy it. So,
yes,
yeah.
yes. So just let them know. Anything else before we wrap up? It's lovely to see you.
It's good to see you. No, I'm just really excited about the anthology. So, just to let you know, it was very pretty. It was really fun to see the cover.
I'm
I
very
don't know.
happy with it.
But
We
yeah.
wanted to make
Yeah.
something that feels acknowledging of loss, but also of hope. You know,
Right, right. Yeah, because it can't be too dark. And I like the colors. I thought,
right. You don't
yeah,
want it to just be sad, even though there are moments. I mean, it was decades ago, but there's still grief.
right, right, right. Yeah. And I think those bare branches kind of gave that effect. But then also there was
Yeah,
some light in
yeah,
the background and
yeah.
stuff. So I like that. That it wasn't like a nighttime kind of a thing,
Right,
but a daytime
right.
bare branch. I thought it was good. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I also think I've been really touched. Because I'm getting tagged in people's posts that are sharing it. Like in almost everybody's, there's somebody who says, "Oh yeah, I've lost a sibling, and I need this book." And you just feel like, oh, I to be a
it's
part of something that is going to bring people comfort is
yeah,
very
it's
meaningful.
a great project because you're right. As much as there are all sorts of losses and they hit
Mhm.
people differently, and sibling loss is its own
Yeah,
space.
yeah,
And how often do you
mhm,
see a book or anything about sibling loss? Really,
yeah,
I don't. Not a
yeah.
lot, right?
No, no.
So I think it is an important project. I'm really glad that you and Lynn just got up there and decided to do it.
Kept
Yeah,
going.
took took that ball and ran with it.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah.
that's really
Well,
cool.
thank you for being a part of it, and thank you for being here today. And I appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I really enjoyed this, and I enjoyed making the poem. So I'm very, very glad you asked me. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right. Thanks everyone who joined us. Bye,
All right, thanks
Sonia. Bye, Ania.
everybody. Bye
Bye.
bye.